This is the Stockwell Eldridge Show, giving you the real-time information you need to make educated decisions about buying and selling in the world-renowned Twin Cities. Now your hosts and real estate experts, Jason Stockwell and Don Eldridge.
Good morning, Twin Cities. This is the Stockwell Eldridge Show, and in for Jason Stockwell is the fabulous Miss Casey Thrash.
Well, good morning, everybody.
I'm Dawn Eldridge with Remax Results. We also have Sparkles, Stephanie Havel in the house tonight.
Yep, good morning. Stephanie Howell with Wells Fargo Home Mortgage. Good morning.
And then we also have a very special guest, Luke Ployher with Afterglow Studios.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Yeah. So Luke is a director and film producer with experience in visual effects and animation that spans a career of over 18 years. And he is actually located in Minnesota, of all places. He did get his start in Los Angeles, correct?
I did, yes. I actually went to film school in Montana State and then promptly moved to Los Angeles from there and worked in feature films for about 9 years before I ended up here in Minneapolis.
Wow. He's got quite an impressive career. He started in film production with Broken Arrow, Austin Powers, Speed 2, Armageddon. And then you did visual effects on Minority Report.
Yeah, so I started in feature film production, which was kind of more the production office tasking, where we dealt with day-to-day production from moving stuff around to crew to just basically every logistic you could ever imagine with films. And then after about 4 or 5 years of doing that, I transitioned into visual effects, which was I took a job at a place called Black Box Digital, and we specialized in screen graphics. So basically, anytime you'd see somebody dealing with a computer in a film where they're touching buttons or touching a screen, we did all that design work and animation work, and then that led to Minority Report, which was kind of our big claim to fame, where Tom Cruise is waving his hands around and stuff is moving around. We did all that. So
that's cool. And did that lead to other technologies, or was it like a predecessor to something? Or
I'd like to think so. Yeah, no, the concept of interface design has been around a long time, and we actually had a consultant from the MIT, I think it's called the Visualization Lab, where they actually gave us a handbook of how Tom Cruise should move his hands around, where he should put his fingers. So we did the design to that. So he actually had a manual that he was working off of to kind of say, oh, swing your hand left or right, and that would trigger a file folder opening, or touch this button here and it push play on a video. Well, obviously, you fast forward now, however many years it's been, with iPhones and iPads and touchscreens, and it's basically that same stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the most famous film for that kind of visualization, where it was very early on in that, but the ideas had been there a long time. So I think the writer, Philip K. Dick, who wrote Blade Runner as well as Minority Report, had concepted that in his sci-fi, but it kind of became a realization with the iPod, really, and that kind of triggered everything else.
I feel like the technology in that movie, though, still surpasses what we have today. Because isn't he in that movie? Isn't he like waving things around with his hands? Like there's a screen. He's like, oh, I don't need that anymore. Get rid of it.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I want to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So are you working on that technology too?
The real technology.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, we can fake it with visual effects, but we don't make it. Or as I saying, go fake it till you make it.
Not well.
Well, usually that's how all that kind of stuff starts, right? Like you have Star Trek and people visualizing and inventing and just these crazy ideas of how tricorder and all these great technologies. Well, that triggers, I think, the younger scientists as they get older. That's what they remember. So they actually start designing that stuff. So it's inspiring to them as they get older. And my film that I produced and came out with last year, Space Next, has some of that same stuff in it with the warp drive. So the whole concept of a warp drive really, came back from sci-fi novels and Star Trek, and now they're actually working on real warp drive technology. So yeah, I mean, we laugh, but you're right. Where he's waving his hands around, that next iteration of what we're doing, there's already stuff called LEAP technology where you can project with sensors and virtual reality, where you're using sensors to track your hands and your eye motion. So that can control, in essence, nothing in front of you as far as what you can see, but there are touch points where, in essence, is that next step to what you saw basically Minority Report.
True. And if they actually come up with a Star Trek Enterprise and like that's a real thing someday, that would be amazing. Sorry, I'm a nerd. I used to watch it with my mom all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Trekkie? I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
I might not look like one, but I am one.
Well, and think about with Star Trek how they had their little, almost like flip phones.
Yeah.
I mean, and now we have them, and I can't wait until we can transport.
And I will
That'll be
volunteer.
really
I was just
cool.
going to say, I will volunteer to be the first guy to transport.
I'm still like waiting for the
Yeah.
Jetsons, with the flying car and.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's
would be
coming.
cool,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. You know that. I think that's coming too. Pretty
Right.
soon.
Actually,
so.
I've heard things about that. It's
Yeah,
kinda
yeah. They're
crazy.
working on the personal drones now. You know, so that,
But
that'll be.
I mean, they came out with a semi-hoverboard that's not really a hoverboard. It's like a skateboard kind of. You know what I mean? Like in Back to the Future, he had the hoverboard. Now there's a hoverboard, but it has wheels. That's not a hoverboard.
Yeah.
Like, go back to the drawing board. Come back to me when you have an actual real hoverboard, and we can talk.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, Lexus actually, the car company Lexus did do a hoverboard, which you have to have a sheet of metal, but it actually hovers. But you can't really control it. You just kind of
Right.
float.
And you can't go anywhere
You can't really
because
go
you have to be
anywhere, yeah.
over metal.
Right, but the
Yeah.
technology's there. It's getting there. That's the thing with all this stuff is 100 years ago, if somebody said, hey, you showed them an iPhone, they think you're crazy. So I guess that's kind of how it all works. It's just the ideas and the fun, the concept and the sci-fi, like Minority Report, things like that. And then fast forward 10, 20, 50 years, then, usually
When we're all
exists.
dead.
Yeah,
Well, it's
exactly.
just even like our calendars. I remember one time I was looking at like different, like a Franklin planner and different catalogs or calendar things, and somebody said, "Why are you doing that? You just do it all on your phone." I'm like, "Get my calendar on my phone? Are you kidding me? Oh my God, seriously, it's all right here. You know what I mean? It's like, where's that piece of paper? No, I take a picture of it. I write something down, I just take a picture of it, and then
Yeah.
I don't hang on to the piece of paper anymore. It's just all on my phone and my camera, and I go back and look for things.
Yeah.
My notebook is sitting right in front of me with all of my things that I need to do, all of my everything. I'm still old school.
Yeah, well, I like the old school, whatever, but it's just, I think when you get busy and you're moving around and stuff like that. So, yeah, I find myself, I do have my notebook, but then I take a picture of the notebook page before I walk out the door. So I have a list of all the people that I have to call or the phone numbers I have to call back on and so forth. So, yeah. Okay, I digress.
Tangent.
So one thing I've seen when I was in Cabo, it was like a hoverboard. It actually is over the water, though. Have you seen those? I don't know how that technology works at all, but I actually took a picture of it because it looked like my dad was on it. The guy actually looked like my dad, Tully, for real. But I was like, and I've seen people out in the ocean on these boards, and they're like probably 5 or 6 feet in the air, and there's no strings attached.
Not
Very
like the
interesting.
water ones.
Yeah, they're on the water.
Right, but they have the backpack where the water goes through the backpack and it
Oh, those
pushes
are those
them up.
jetpack
That
things.
might be it.
jetpack.
That
Yeah.
might be it.
Yeah.
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 Now I'm too far away. Maybe my vision isn't as good as it used to be,
Okay.
but I
Yeah,
didn't
those
see
are
that.
to a jet
The
ski.
tequila. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cabo.
No,
Yeah,
it wouldn't
those
be
are
the
tied to a
tequila.
jet ski, and then they usually go up, and that's...
How on earth? That is crazy. That's
Looks
crazy.
dangerous.
All right. Well, we're going to do a quick market update. We are doing things out of order today because Jason isn't here and
There's
we're
no
having fun
order.
today. So, all right. Quick market update. We have had a 1.1% increase in new listings. Also, we've had a 5.3% increase in closed sales for this time last year, which is great. Great news still on the real estate market. And then we've also had a 5.7% increase in the median sales price year to date, which is excellent, excellent news. Also, according to Warren Buffett, there is no bubble in real estate. He says now is a good time to buy a house, though not as good as it was 4 years ago. Buffett still says the chances of housing prices collapsing are very low, which I think is good news for everybody.
Well, we love Warren Buffett. He's the largest shareholder of Wells Fargo. So whatever Warren Buffett says, okay. We love it. And he loves, yeah. And I think, we're seeing that as well. Like I said, we are so busy, we've got a lot of pre-approvals, and that's what we're telling our customers is, if you've thought about it, we've had people that come in and, our bank customers, if they're renting, we always want to talk to them about, getting qualified to buy a house, so that if maybe they aren't ready now, what can they do in 6 or 8 months from now? Because it is, we talk about with rates, where are they going? Casey, you mentioned, the Brexit thing, how is that going to affect rates and so forth? But really, I mean, you shouldn't buy a house because the rates are low. I mean, it's buying a house because, you want some place to raise your family or for your kids or just, a place that you can, throw your shoes at the end of the night and a garage you can park your car in and so forth. So I would just say, yeah, absolutely. With those statistics, get pre-approved. Regardless of where the rates are at, they don't, it doesn't always make that much of an impact in what your monthly payment will be. But right now, a house payment is at or less than what most people are paying in rent.
Absolutely. I've noticed that too. And, I have not seen a slowdown yet in the market. And traditionally around this time, things kind of slow down. Over the 4th of July a couple weeks ago, I actually had one of my listings sell. So I was working from my cabin. It was kind of nice. Much better view from the office. No offense.
No, I totally. Hey, I was at the cabin. I was ignoring phone calls at the cabin. No, but
hey, let's have a cabin. I was not at the cabin.
It was a time to relax
at my house.
But okay, so like you said, the change in listings is up 1.1%, but the change in closed sales is up 5.3%. Our inventory is still getting lower. So it's still a good time to buy, but at the same time, it's also a really good time to sell because there's no inventory out there. Like you said, things you put them on the market, they're going quick if you price them right. And it's a home that will sell and somebody wants to buy it, even if it's not priced right. Somebody might come in and say, all right, I'm going to give you what it's worth. It's a good time to sell no matter what.
Well, and I think too, just letting people know that a minimum down payment for a house right now, Wells Fargo has a program, it's 3% down. You do not have to be a first-time home buyer to take advantage of that program. So some people may be saying, well, I can't sell. I don't have 20%. I'm not going to be able to put that much money down. As long as you have 3% down, we can get you into we can get you a mortgage. It's long gone are the days where you need 20% down to buy a house. So definitely stop into a Wells Fargo or give me a call. And we'd be happy to set you up with somebody to get you qualified. So I think that's what we hear a lot of times too. Maybe, I don't know if you guys agree with that, is they don't feel like they can afford to sell because they don't have the money to use towards a new house.
Yeah. And, some people are still upside down in their homes. And I think that is a fear for some people that they don't want to sell yet. But honestly, with the market as strong as it is, it really is the best time to sell. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Luke about his new film about Space Next, correct?
Correct.
And we'll hear more about that. This is Dawn Eldridge with RE/MAX Results.
This is Casey Thrash with Jason Stockwell team.
And Stephanie Havel with Wells Fargo Home Mortgage, 612-940-7335.
And Luke Blair with Afterglow Studios.
We'll be right back.